Good morning, students. Again, in front of you with the chapter of the prose section of your textbook Flamingo. The first chapter, that's title is the last chapter. Generally, we expect this is the first chapter, but as a title, this is the last lesson or last chapter, we can say. This is given by Alphonse Daudet. Such types of situation in English literature is called irony. When what we expect, if just opposite happens, this is called ironical situation. But first question is why it was the last lesson. This was the last lesson because chapters that were or lessons that were running on for the students since last 40 years, these were French lessons. First, Germany or Prussia defeated French in the war. That's why a order came from Berlin. From very next day, it would be a new teacher of Germany or German language would teach in the schools. That's why this chapter would be the last day, lesson in the schools. That's why this is given the last lesson. And what happens just in this chapter, after order, all the villagers, students, including the teachers, all were just in tensed dismay, distress due to it. But now we come to story. There are two main characters in this story. First is a teacher, French teacher who was serving in the France, especially two districts, Alsace and Lorraine, where this order was applicable. He was teaching since last 40 years as a French teacher. And second character, that is little French. A little child of or little students or primary students of primary teacher M. Hamel, who was considered very cranky. Cranky को मतलब सनकी कह सकते हैं आप, जो कभी भी किसी को स्कॉल्ड कर सकता है, झड़क सकता है, उसको यहाँ पे cranky बोला गया है. तो as usual, it was running since last 40 years. Neither teacher nor students were interested in schools. Sometimes teacher was just not in mood to teach the students, and even sometimes students were not available in front of the teacher, and even sometimes their parents were not ready to send them to school. That's why everything was generally transfer for tomorrow. Okay, we have a lot of time, plenty of time, everything would be done just next learned by us tomorrow. तो सब कुछ ये कह कर के टीचर भी जब इंटरेस्ट नहीं है तो वो भी फिशिंग के लिए चला जाता से ही वाज सो फॉन्ड ऑफ फिशिंग, या बच्चों से कोई दूसरा काम करा देता है. इस तरह से वो हमेशा कल के लिए टाल दिया जाता है. ऐसे बच्चे भी, उनके पेरेंट्स भी कहते हैं कोई बात नहीं, कल चले जाना. बट दिस वाज द लास्ट डे और लास्ट लेसन. हाउ स्टोरी बिगिंस? Story begins. Little French started to go to school early in the morning, very late, because he was not interested to go to school on the day of last lesson, because before a day his teacher M. Himmel gave some work of learning that was a participle. While since the day he had not learned even single word in French or even a participle. That's why he was afraid of his teacher or feared of his teacher, and he did not want to go to school on that day. But he was completely unknown about this. It was the last day. When he was going to school, he was very late, and in the midway, there were several things like a chirping sound of the words, and even just a triumphant sound of Prussian soldiers and sound of sawmill. Everything attracted him, and once he decided not to go to school, but finally he was just in fear of scolding. That's why he wanted to go to school at hurry. And in between the way, there were crowd in front of the town hall, And most of the bad news used to just lost of Vettel and others used to come from there. And once he wanted to get a pause there, but he did not. And he reached finally school, but it was completely unusual. In school, that was not even considered by him. It was complete silence, and there was no rustle bustle, and even generally he heard just a sound. He used to hear the sound, scratching sound, or even benches and table sound here and there, but it was not so on that day. It was completely calm and completely quiet. And it was considered by him just like a Sunday morning, and he had come wrong on that day. But finally, he reached school, and he wanted to enter in the class, but he was just in fear. Just next, I will teach you just the next part of this next in video. Till then, thanks. Have a nice day.